Welcome everyone to the Everyday Experts podcast. I'm Bobby here with my co-host Heidi. We're very excited to launch the inaugural actual first episode of this podcast. We wanted to kick things off with a bang and get a super sophisticated, intelligent genius, but that guy wasn't available. So we got this guy instead. We are here with Dr. Zach Littlefield, MD. He graduated from the University of Alabama at Birmingham back in 2021. I don't remember. He is currently in Florida finishing rotations, and he is our guest today to talk about healthy eating, the benefits of doing so, and how you can maintain a healthy eating lifestyle. Welcome, Zach. It's great to have you.
Welcome.
Hey guys, thank you so much. Yeah, with that intro, I was like, who's he talking about? But you made it very clear. So yeah, happy to be here.
You knew I wouldn't ask you on this show and not open it with a joke.
Yeah, I expect nothing less. So
it's great to have you here, man. Just a little bit of brief background. Why don't you tell us about your current situation in Florida, and then we can move on to what you're actually doing with eating healthy, which to me is the very interesting aspect of your professional journey so far.
Well, awesome. Yeah, I'm glad that I can interest you in some way. So as you know, I went to you and I went to college together, and I got an undergraduate degree in mechanical engineering. Worked for one summer during college as an engineer. Absolutely hated it. Wanted to change my major, but my parents wouldn't let me. They're like, you need this degree. So I shadowed an orthopedic surgeon, saw one surgery, was like, this is what God has called me to do. I'm going to do that. So stuck on the same degree path, went to medical school, and then graduated in 2021. Yeah, graduated in 2021. And now I'm down here in Florida. I'm doing a general surgery preliminary year for training, which has been really, really awesome. And my goal is to be an orthopedic surgeon. So I'm here. I actually have my orthopedic rotation on Monday. So just in a handful of days here. Really excited to be in Florida. Really excited for this open door that the Lord has opened for me, and just faithfully walking through and just having a great time.
I love that. I love that you're following that dream, that pathway that you feel, kind of like a calling.
I would say so, because it wasn't. I probably would have done something else by now, because it's been a rough road, to say the least. But yeah, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think I was supposed to, and I was called to do it and equipped to do it. So yeah, it's been really good.
Absolutely, man. So there's another really neat thing that you are doing. You have a YouTube channel named Dr. Zach Littlefield, MD. And
really original. Yeah. It took a long time to come up with that name.
To the point.
Yeah. At the heart of innovation, Dr. Zach Littlefield.
Right.
It's a channel focused on healthy eating.
Okay. And
Zach provides guidance to people on how to maintain a healthy eating lifestyle through the Freedom Diet. And that's one of the main things we wanted to talk about today, Zach. Walk us through the Freedom Diet. What's it all about?
Yeah, well, I mean, I could talk about it all day. It took me a while to realize that, if all the fitness advice and bro science and nutrition is all based on kind of like people who go to the gym and do it for a living. I followed some of that advice for a while and really ran into pitfalls and struggles, and really I was spinning my wheels a lot and doing a lot of different things that didn't make any progress.
I don't think you're alone in that. I think a lot of us feel like we're spinning our wheels.
Yeah, it's hard, and it's hard to know what's real and what actually works and what So I was following the trends and, reading bodybuilding magazines and, nutrition tips online and videos and stuff like that. And I've probably fallen for every scam, every scheme, anything that sounded good.
You're very poor, right?
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, it didn't cost me much money, but it cost me a lot of time, and it cost me a lot of progress for sure.
Yeah, those things are popping up all the time on if anybody's on Facebook or constantly, or even on just watching TV, the media and the commercials. It's popping up all the time. It's very confusing and overwhelming. You don't know which one to go with.
Yeah, it's really a horrible industry right now. And yeah, so I just it took me a long time to really I'm a kind of person that you tell me something and I try it out for myself and then I decide if it's right or not. So it's like a slower path to discovering what's real and what's not. And I just kind of tinkered with stuff my entire life. And I got down to the point where I only gained momentum in the healthy food, eating healthy area if it was the focus of my life. And I went through periods and seasons where I could focus on that. But then if I didn't, I would gain weight, I would rebound. And I was like, man, this is way too difficult. Why is this so unbelievably hard? And it took me a long time to discover. So you talked about the freedom diet, and it's just marketing. It's just, this is what works to lose weight. And I use the name, the freedom diet. So basically, all of the health and fitness tips and science, I just boiled it down to, if you want to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit, which basically means your body burns a set number of calories. And if you eat less than those calories, you'll lose weight. And the freedom diet is essentially just you tracking your calories, either by weighing them, eyeballing them, looking them up, and then you eat less than that, and you'll lose weight. And the freedom part is you can choose anything as long as it's under your daily maintenance calories, and you lose weight.
I have a question. People talk a lot about macros, carbs, fats, proteins. How does that factor into weight loss? Is it not as big of a deal as people think?
So they're kind of like the same thing. So you have carbs, you have proteins, and you have fats. And there's actually a magic macronutrients. It's alcohol. It has a different function. So carbs and protein are 4 calories per gram, and fats are 9 calories per gram, and then alcohol is actually 7. So if you take if you have a dinner and you add up the protein grams, the carb grams, and the fat grams, and you times them by either 4 or 9 based on what they are, they will add up to the total calories. So calories is just what all the macronutrients add up to.
Right. So people will talk about how if you want to, I hope I get this right, if you want to build muscle, you need more protein, right? But if you want to or maybe if you get leaner, I don't remember, but you load your diet up with proteins, you achieve one result, load it up with more fat, another result, more carbs, another result. How does that play into weight loss?
So going back to my original statement, if you eat more calories than you burn, you'll gain weight.
Sure.
Whether that is muscle or fat, that's really the only two things it can be. It can be stored as glycogen in your muscles and liver and blah, blah, blah. That doesn't matter. That's very small. It's either going to be protein. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. Just science nuance. But it's either going to be protein or fat. And you can only build you can only build so much muscle in a day, in a year, in a week. So that you do have a muscle building capacity that needs to be fueled by protein, because muscles are made up of amino acids, and that's what's in protein. So it's the building blocks for muscle. But just eating protein alone doesn't build muscle. You need a different stimulus. But if you just have the stimulus to build muscle and don't support it with healthy protein, it's the roots of the muscle system, then you can't build it. So, but if you eat, let's say 2,000 calories over your maintenance and you're trying to lift weights, you will gain muscle, but you'll also gain fat because you have a muscle building capacity. And then the calories you eat above that will go into fat.
That makes a lot of sense. And so what I've always liked about the freedom diet, because, you and I talked about that a lot because we launched our, YouTube channels around the same time. And I thought yours was incredibly more useful than mine. Weight loss.
I don't
versus
know.
gaming
I don't
channel.
know. I don't know. You've got a lot of subscribers,
That's
Bobby. A
true.
lot of people tune in every day to see what you're doing.
How many calories are you burning
Yeah.
as you play your game?
Yeah, exactly. Probably 0. But no, I always like the simplicity of the freedom diet, right? The whole premise of it is if you eat fewer calories than you burn, then you lose weight. And that's a very simple concept to grasp, especially when, as you were talking about, Heidi, there's a lot of confusion and a lot of noise in the industry.
So would you tell people or recommend that people avoid any certain foods, or no, because it's just a matter of calories?
So I would say that overall, if your goal is to lose weight, like I could eat like Cheetos and Mountain Dew and lose a lot of weight if that's all I ate. Is that a quote unquote healthy like lifestyle and healthy diet? Absolutely not. But
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say no.
Yeah, it's not, right. But the statement still stands and the formula still stands. If I eat less Mountain Dew and Cheetos than I burn, then I'll lose weight. It doesn't matter what the food is. So but you're not going to feel good on Mountain Dew and Cheetos. But I think the point of the freedom diet is to simplify eating so that there's no such thing as cheat meals and cheat foods. And if you want some ice cream at night, you can absolutely fit it in to your overall plan. And you don't have to have this like weird like food guilt or something for just being a human and having cravings and wanting to socialize.
Yeah, that is the worst thing about a lot of the crash diets you see is how restrictive they are. So I wanted to kind of bounce off of what Heidi just asked. Are there any foods that you think people should add to their diets to aid in losing weight?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And I have on my channel, I've really hit hard the certain food, and it's really a magic organism that just like absolutely is incredible. So like, there's a food, it's a starch, and it's so like the fullness per calorie I talk about in my program. Like if you fill your plate and fill your day with foods that fill you up and satisfy your cravings, it's really easy to stay in a calorie deficit. Like the problem with the Mountain Dew and the Cheeto example is that you're going to be hungry probably most of the day. And so good luck staying on a calorie deficit when you're starving and craving food all the time. So a food that I think pretty much everybody should put more into their diet are potatoes. And there's a research paper that I've been quoting, and I can't remember who did it, but it doesn't really matter. But they had a graph of the types of food, and then they measure like fullness. I don't really know how they measured fullness, but the potato was like better than the second best one by like double. So like you could eat half as many potatoes as the next food and stay fuller longer, which is incredible because if you eat 400 calories of like a potato and you're like stuffed and you feel stuffed, there's a difference between feeling stuffed and overeating. Like there's sometimes they're the same, but not always. So you can eat a ton of potatoes, feel really stuffed, even be like bloated, like have a lot of food in your stomach, but it's very low calorie.
Right.
Does it matter how you cook them?
Yes, everything you do, like if you deep fry them, if you bake them, that contributes to the overall calorie count. Like someone asked me, do McDonald's fries count? I'm like, well, those aren't really potatoes anymore. They used to be, and now I don't know what they are. They're so like chemically changed that they're not that anymore. Potato chips, like I don't call them potato chips. They're just chips. Like they used to be potatoes, but they're not. Like that's like the worst thing you can do for your diet is eat chips because they don't satisfy any cravings and they're empty calories. That doesn't mean you can't have any. Like I said, with the freedom diet, if you want some chips, but just know how they affect your overall plan. So I think potatoes, I've really hit that really, really hard because I think carbs and starches, especially that's a high glycemic white carb. Oh, stay away. I'm like, yeah, have you ever eaten 800 calories of a potato? I bet you haven't because it takes so much to eat that. So I would say that the potato has been something that I've really discovered is a really great food to aid weight loss because of the fullness it brings.
It's interesting you brought up the fact that, potato chips are called potato chips. That seems like a marketing thing to me, right? Because
Yeah.
potatoes are generally accepted as being, pretty healthy, like just as a food. I know that they are used to make a lot of other things. When you're talking about chips, if you just said, hey, here are some chips, people would be like, I don't know, but they're potato chips. And it's just interesting to me how much there is marketing trying to influence you to
Well,
eat.
yeah, because you feel like you had a vegetable.
Yes.
Like, I need to have my
Yeah.
vegetables today.
Yeah.
Well, I had potatoes.
Yeah, had my potato
It was a
chips.
chip.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of misinformation out there. Yeah.
Marketing is very, very powerful. It's just very overwhelming. If you hear the same thing over and over again, you believe that it's true. It's unbelievable how easily we can be persuaded just by a message that is shouted over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it kind of preys on, and this is actually the sad part to me, people's insecurities, right?
Sure.
Pretty much everybody in some form or fashion has a weight loss story or journey, some, to more extreme extents than others, but these companies and these programs, they know that. They know that
They prey on that.
Yeah, a lot of people are very self-conscious about the way they look and about their eating habits, but, there's also food being created that is almost addictive in and of itself.
True. Yeah.
So it is very sad.
I would go so far to say it is addictive.
Yeah.
Not almost.
Yeah.
Just it's addictive.
Yeah.
And the sugar cravings, I mean, those are real.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't have MD behind my name, but I have the cravings. I know that. So.
Yeah. I mean, well, as far as my YouTube channel goes, the MD just stands for marketing degree, because we don't get a whole lot of nutrition-based training in school. We don't get many lectures, and which is honestly, I think is okay, because I have listened to some like very educated lectures, and they're worse than the gym bros. They make things so unbelievably difficult. Like I went to a diabetes lecture in school where they were teaching people who have like an active diabetes like disease. And one lady raised their hand and said, I think I have diabetes because I'm eating too many apples. Because they said, oh, apples have a lot of sugar in them. Watch out. And the person at the front was like, yeah, just one a day. I was like, I don't think this lady has diabetes because she's eating 2 apples instead of 1. Like, that's just misinformation.
Yeah.
Like, so, yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the problem, though. People are hearing a lot of different things. There's a lot of noise. But one of the other tough things, and it's like this with a lot of areas of your life, but for some reason eating healthy seems to be the most challenging, at least for me, and it's staying motivated, right?
Sure.
Because, Zach, I love ice cream. I love it.
Yes.
I think ice cream's amazing. I love birthday cake. Birthday cake, if I could eat birthday cake every day, I probably would.
Well, and how many times do you have a special event, or it's just this celebration moment, a celebratory moment, or I deserve this, I had a rough day, I'll start again tomorrow, and it just keeps getting pushed off.
Yes. And that is the easiest thing to get caught up in. How do you avoid those pitfalls, especially when you consider that on the Freedom Diet, you can have those things, but you have to balance that with motivation to actually eat the proper quantities of those foods and have that be top of mind all the time. How do you stay motivated?
Yeah, that's a really, really great question, because, I talked to somebody who was trying to lose weight, and they said, well, I know what to do. It's just doing it that's hard.
Absolutely,
and that's true. It's just, most of it is our behaviors and our actual actions. It's not, everybody knows how to lose weight. If you asked a 5-year-old how to lose weight, they could probably figure it out.
Cheetos
so
and
I
Mountain
think,
Dew.
Yeah, that's what they said. Cheetos and Mountain Dew, and Dr. Zach's YouTube channel. They're like, yeah, that's right, buddy. Yeah, how to stay motivated. That's a really good question. So I think that I've done some reading about motivation in general. And if you're waiting to be motivated to lose weight, you're waiting on something that is fleeting. When you have if you only do something, if you're motivated to do something, you're only going to do it every once in a while, because motivation doesn't stick with you. It comes and it goes, just like cravings. They come and they go.
Right.
So I think just like setting up like systems in place, it's almost like you do it no matter what. Like you create automatic willpower or automatic like tracking or something. Like you just automate your like weight loss or just anything in general. Like if you want to like accomplish a goal in an area, the more you can make it automatic, the more it's going to happen.
Yeah,
and the more you rely on willpower. Here's an example. When I eat, let's say like chips or like you said, birthday cake or ice cream, I can't have like little tiny slivers and be like, oh, I'm done. Like I eat like in mass. So I usually either have to avoid something completely or like either eat all of it or none of it is what I'm saying.
Right.
So, but my wife is very, very different. She's like a grazer and a nibbler. So like she can have just a little of this, 3 M&Ms, a thing of chocolate and be fine. So like if there's like a bag of chips in our house and I don't have an easier, quicker, healthy snack available, like an apple or something, and I'll grab chips, I'll easily snack on 600, 700 calories and be like, before I even register, what am I doing? This is not helping me. I'm not less hungry. I'm just eating. I'm just like going through the motion of eating.
Yeah.
So that's like anti-motivation. Like I need a lot of motivation to stay away from that. So like we've even talked about, I was like, look, if you don't want me to eat all your chips, you're going to have to hide them or just not buy them. She's like, well, I want chips. I was like, well, you're going to have to hide them. So sometimes my wife will literally hide food from me. And it's not because like,
she has your permission.
Yeah. I'm like, please hide this from me, because if I see it, I'll eat it and I'll eat all of it. So that's like built-in motivation. Like this rotation I have coming up, I was just talking to my wife that I was like, I need to like, I understand the importance of like eating healthy and the types of foods that you eat affect how you feel, your body, fuel your body for success, blah, 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 all that stuff. And I think people take that way too far, but it does make a big difference. So I was like telling her, I was like, look, like I need your help to like help me stay on track this month. I need like a no sugar month. I need a like cleanse, like health. I hate the word cleanse, but just like eating very whole foods, no dessert, no processed sugar, because it does make a difference. It doesn't make a difference in losing weight, but it makes a difference in how you feel. Mm-hmm. So just like built-in motivation and creating systems that make weight loss and eating healthy automatic are like just the keys to success. I don't think motivation, if you rely on motivation, I don't think you'll ever succeed.
That makes sense.
And it's like building a habit, right?
Yeah.
Like, what do they say? Like, you have to do something how many times
like,
to become...
I thought it was like 2 weeks. It like takes 2 weeks for a habit to form, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, which is why often habits form without you even realizing.
Right.
You just keep going back to the same well over and over again, almost subconsciously, and then it's a habit, and you didn't even realize it became one. So
portion size, what you made me remember about myself is, and I get laughed at for this all the time, but when I go out to eat, I'm like cutting things in half ahead of time or segmenting them and planning on taking it home as leftovers because
that's great
to break it down. Otherwise, I will sit there and eat almost the whole thing until I'm miserable instead of pleasantly full.
Right. Yeah, I'm definitely one of those, I ain't no quitter kind of eaters. I will clean my whole plate even if I'm not necessarily hungry anymore. It actually takes a lot more self-control than I ever thought I would have to muster to stop myself at the halfway point, like you were just talking about, and take that food home.
But that's like ingrained in us from childhood, or some of us anyway. Like, you will clean your plate.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that was my next question. I was like, Bobby, like, did your parents make you clean your plate?
100%. Well, sorry, I shouldn't say 100%. I didn't like get punished if I didn't eat all my food. But I mean, Zach, you and I grew up in Alabama, or you grew up mostly in Texas, but high school moved to Alabama. Anyway, we both spent a significant amount of time in the South, deep South, and there is an expectation.
The land of healthy foods.
The land of healthy foods, yes. And fried
tasty
chicken.
Food.
Yeah, and Mountain Dew. There is an expectation that you will eat all the food that's on your plate. And that's
Yep.
I don't know if that's just a Southern thing, but it kind of feels like it is. And I'm sure that's a parent thing everywhere. But in my house, it was like, don't get more food than you're gonna eat. So it was
Yeah.
almost like presented as a wastefulness kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
You don't
absolutely.
want to waste food, and there is some merit to that. But
Yeah.
I also think when you're a kid, you can't really control that kind of thing. It's like just eat until you're, or if you have self-control problems with food, just eat until you're actually full, and save the rest. Or if you can't, then you throw it away, and it just is what it is.
So you were talking about building those habits and having systems in place. Do you have recommendations for resources that are free even, or something that people should be using to help them monitor those things? Have you found anything, or is that part of your program?
Yeah, right now I'm in the infant stages of my program where I just basically teach. So my program is basically like what makes the Freedom Diet different than any other diet is that I teach people how to like eyeball their calories and guesstimate what's actually in their food. And it's like, oh, how do you know that? It's literally just guess and check for hundreds and hundreds of times. I met this girl. She was 9 years old. I met her in medical school. Now, this is worth tuition. So I met her in medical school. She was in a psych ward. Super, super smart girl. She had a really horrible like family life. So she was in this psych ward. But she was type 1 diabetic, and they have to know how many carbs are in their food and then inject themselves with the proper dose of insulin. And that's like an auto, like if you get how much insulin in your body wrong, like you can have too much sugar in your body, you can have too little and you'll pass out. And this girl absolutely was nailing it. And I was like, can you teach me this power? And she's like, it's really easy. She's 9 years old. She's like, it's literally so easy. And I was like, teach me. So the rest of the day and the rest of the rotation, we were guessing her food every time I saw her. And I was like, if a 9-year-old can do it, surely I can learn how to do this.
I know that was a really heartwarming story you just told, and it's very beneficial. I'm picturing that you're like Luke Skywalker, and this girl is like Yoda, and she's on your shoulders, and you're running and doing front flips through this psych ward, pointing out things and guessing the calories of them.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, can you teach me this power? She said, do or do not. There is no try. I mean, she really was the master. And I was like, I'm here for your training.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So that is the thing that you're trying to teach people through the Freedom Diet.
Yeah, I think that's a really good method. There's other things like you asked, like what are some systems and regulation. There's something that I kind of got the Freedom Diet idea from. It's called the Flash Diet. And basically it's a little bit more simple than the Freedom Diet. I think it has some drawbacks, but you just take a picture of your food and that's it. And I think it was back in the 90s or 80s. I mean, people have been thinking about ways to lose weight for a long, long, long time. It's something that never goes away because your appetite and your need to eat never goes away because you always have to eat, but you don't want to overeat. And it's such a hard balance to strike. But these people just took pictures of their food and just like, all it was is just like telling their mind, I'm eating.
Look at
and that's
what you're
all
doing.
They did. Yeah. Look at what you're about to eat. And you had to take the picture of everything that you ate. So you just take a picture and like, I'm about to eat this. And it eliminates like mindless eating. So there's actually an app that does that. Can't remember what it's called. I just know the logo that's on my app, that's on my phone. I think it's called 8. I think it's literally called ATE. Okay. And you take it's the easiest way to just like easily pull the app up and take a picture. And it goes along that Flash Diet like recommendation where it says, is this on your plan or off your plan? And that's all they're tracking. So that's one. Another thing that I don't take as many pictures anymore because I kind of understand the calories in my food a little bit better than I ever have. And I just use just a simple calorie tracker where I look at my own food with my own eyes and go, that's about 800. And I just put it in a calculator, 800. And the key to that is just like, you do have to make yourself do it. that's definitely the difficult part, because it's easy to leave stuff out and be like, oh, I nailed it, when you really didn't.
Well, part of that is probably you're not going to eat it if you know you have to enter it in.
I found that where I want something, but I don't want to admit to myself that I'm going to put that in my app. So I go, oh, forget it. Like I don't want to admit that I'm going to eat that. So I was like, okay, I won't eat it.
You win this time, app.
Yeah, you win this time. You're doing your job. What a bummer. Yeah, but Bobby, I kind of wanted to go back what you said about the Clean Plate Club. I was reading, because like weight loss and eating habits is it's more psychological than it is like nutritional, like science. That mindset comes from like our great grandparents, like the Great Depression, where they didn't have a lot of food. And then they taught their children and they taught their children. And it comes to us where you're trained to eat your plate instead of knowing how much food you actually need. So it's just like you said, when you're a child, like if you're a parent, you're teaching your kid how to eat food for the rest of their life, basically. So I think when people say like, oh, genetics are very important, I'm like, they are very important. And some people have an easier or harder time losing weight because of either their body habitus or their appetite or anything, or the activity level. But like, I think the way that we teach people how to eat is a big deal. And you could say that's genetics, but it's really just behavior.
Yeah, there is a cultural component.
Big time.
Yeah, to eating. I mean, I had to have kind of a light come to Jesus moment with my mom a few years ago, because I mean, I was a college graduate and she was still piling my plate full of food as if I was a growing teenager. And that was probably right after I had lost a bunch of weight. Like I got up to a very unhealthy weight, to the point that like I was having knee problems. I was very lethargic. Like it was bad. But I just lost a lot of weight, and I was like, Mom, I can't keep eating as if I'm a child. Like, I appreciate it. It's very sweet that you want me to eat and be full, but I feel bad because you're piling my plate like I'm 16 and I'm 25 now. Like
metabolism has changed.
Yes, very much so. And it's not going to be good for me to be eating this amount of food. If I want seconds, I'll go back. I don't have to pile my plate as if we're in the Great Depression, or something like that. So it's challenging.
For sure. Yep.
So I wanted to go back. This is kind of an aside, but you said earlier that you don't like cleanses. Why don't you like cleanses? What's your vendetta?
Man, I just don't like quick fixes for long-term problems.
Sure.
Like it's just it makes the idea, and it's been sold to us that we can just eat whatever we want for years and years and years and jump on a 21-day cleanse and make it all better. And it's just not true. And even if it was true, I learned about something this week that I have never heard of in my life. This guy that I met back in the 90s. So this is 30 years ago.
Way back.
He went on this diet. It was called, isn't that 30 years ago?
Yes. Heidi's making a joke because she was grown up in the 90s and Zach and I were growing up.
Well, what I mean is I learned something new that's been around for 30 years. So it's like these things have been going in cycles for years and years and years. There's nothing new. But this guy did a protein muscle sparing diet where he ate zero food for 5 months and just had 5 protein supplement pills a day. And it was like a 500 calorie diet, something like that. And he lost 150 pounds in 5 months. Now that is unbelievable. But guess what? He is still unbelievably heavy and still having problems with it, because he took a short-term fix to a long-term problem. I'm going to fix this for 5 months. And everybody knows that's not sustainable. So I that's why I hate cleanses. I hate quick fixes, because you need to play the long game, because it's not like college. Like Bobby, you and I went to college. We don't take those classes anymore. We don't do that stuff anymore. We're done. It's over. With weight loss and dieting and food and your body, it never ends, because you eat every single day. Yeah, it never ends.
It's your whole life.
Whole life.
And it's ubiquitous. You really cannot get away because if you don't fill your body with the nutrients it needs, you die, right? Like you have to consume something. And so that makes it an ever-present struggle.
So are there ways to help add some of those nutrients that we do know that we need, but they're kind of hard to get? Like I've heard that multivitamin in the pill form is really not that good for you, and I've heard some people say it's useless. How do you feel about that?
So in doctor world, we say that multivitamins are not helpful.
Okay.
Because there was a study, and hold that thought. That's what doctors say. It's not what I say.
Okay.
There's a study that showed that like morbidity and mortality, which means like your chances of dying and your chances of having recurrent disease doesn't change with multivitamins, and that everything you consume in a multivitamin through a pill, you just like urinate out. They're like, oh, you're just paying extra money to color your urine. Mm-hmm. Now,
I've heard that.
The problem, I have too. And the problem with that is, well, one, I just don't believe it, because there are certain disease processes that we see in the hospital because of vitamin deficiency. So I was like, how could it not affect us at all? You're saying it doesn't make a difference, yet there are actual disease processes linked to low vitamin D, low vitamin C, low vitamin A. I was like, it does matter to an extent, maybe not as much as the supplements industry wants you to believe that it is in the vitamin industry. Now I do take a multivitamin, and I take a multivitamin and I feel a difference when I take it and when I don't. And sometimes, like, not to be not scientific about this, but like that's enough for me. I'm like, this makes a difference in my life.
How it makes you feel.
Right. Yeah.
So there are also powders. Have you noticed those more and more? The nutrients that are put into superfood type powders, they're dehydrated or dried, they're powdered up, and you add them to smoothies or add them to your food.
They're supposed to be super convenient, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they have superfoods in them that you don't go to the grocery store and buy every day.
Right.
Yeah, I think ideally that if you would say like what's the best way to eat, they would say like whole foods. Like if you get all your vitamins and nutrients from natural foods. The problem with that is, like, for the bodybuilding example and the fitness example, is that like creatine is the most researched supplement on the planet. Super safe, super effective. But to get the adequate dose of creatine in your body, you'd have to consume like 10 steaks a day. Like, it's just like you can't get it naturally. Yeah. So there are places where supplementation just makes sense. And there's places where it doesn't. Like, if you're not getting enough greens, are supplements going to help? Yeah, I think they would. It's better than not eating anything. So I think they do exactly that. They supplement. So like if you have the Cheeto Mountain Dew diet and you drink a green shake in the morning, like, are you healthy? Probably not. I think they have their place.
You just helped everyone figure out how to do the Mountain Dew and Cheeto diet. That's the key. You have to supplement.
No, elsewhere. I like what you said. That's exactly it. They are supplements. That's not your full diet. It's your supplement. But I'm like like you said about your multivitamin. I have been using one of the versions of the powders, and I feel better. My blood test results have been better since doing that. And so
great.
If it's working for me, then I'm going to continue it. Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome. You should. Anything that works for you, because the best diet is the one you can do. It's not the one that you read about.
I like that.
Is that the slogan for the Freedom Diet?
There's lots of slogans.
I love it. So if somebody wanted to start the Freedom Diet right now or tomorrow, how would they do that? Walk us through how they would start on the Freedom Diet and how they can start on that weight loss journey.
Yeah, that's a really great question. And you're really setting me up to just knock this one out of the park. So
I'm basically letting you promo your diet on our podcast, so don't mess this up.
All right, yeah, here we go. My first promo. Click the link below.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
Yeah, so my goal is anytime that you have like an online business where your like main like driver is content marketing. So like my goal is to teach people about weight loss on my channel for free. And if you watch all my videos and you watch them in the proper order, you will learn everything that I know about weight loss, nutrition, everything. But if you're like, okay, this is what I want to do. Like, I believe you. I've watched enough of your videos. I know, like, and trust you. And I want to do this freedom diet thing. I want to do it as fast as I can. Then I have a course that breaks it all down, like step by step order. You watch this video, you watch this video, you watch this video, you do this homework, you apply this, and you'll basically fast forward what took me 15 years to learn, and you can learn it in just like an hour or two. But if you don't like, I mean, that's just the time versus money versus value principle. But I have plenty of free content that you can just take pieces of it and apply to your life. If you work on just eyeballing, if you train yourself to eyeball your food, basically before you weigh anything, before you measure anything, if you say, how many calories is this? And then guess and check either with labels or with like measuring, like with a scale. That's the freedom diet. That's how I learned how to do it. It's going to take you a long time. It's going to take you shorter time than me because I'm telling you, hey, it's possible and this is how you do it. And you'll get there faster than I did in 15 years. But the fastest way to do it is with my online course. And, you know, Bobby, I have a lot of really awesome vision and plans for the future. You asked, like, how do you create systems and how do you make it? Right now, the system is you learn the system and then you do the system. And I want, like, if we get enough people to do the freedom diet, I want to create something like automatic where you don't even have to learn how to do it. We have something that does it for you. And like, I just got a lot of vision for this just because, like, you talk about like kids and they're like, I would love to teach this in elementary school. Just teach kids. That 9-year-old knew how to do it. Like, I mean, she was very smart, but if we like drilled this in kids' head, like, and in school, like, that'd be amazing. Like, stuff they could take for the rest of their life. But, you know, I just went on a tangent. But like, I mean, if you want to learn how to eyeball your calories and how to apply the freedom diet, I would just say check out my YouTube channel, learn some of that stuff. And I have a PDF download into the description of all my videos. And if you click on that and download the guide, man, you'll be on your way. And it will be a great journey. You'll never feel bound to food ever again. And you can just like eat the foods you love and live the life you love. It's just really, really freeing. That's why I call it the freedom diet. I just like, people need freedom. They need freedom from the stress of losing weight, but also they don't want to sacrifice their life. They just want weight loss plus the life they already have.
Yeah, absolutely. You also reminded me of something else that at least has been helpful for me in the past, and that is having a community of some sort. And I think that's helpful in maintaining any sort of lifestyle that's beneficial, but especially with weight loss. I think it's not a journey you're necessarily meant to take alone. And whether you're taking it with a friend, a family member, or with Dr. Zach, watching his content and learning from him, getting to walk with him through the potato challenge or any of the other aspects of eating healthy that he'll teach. I think it's crucial to have somebody else to walk through this with you to help keep you motivated and help keep you accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, accountability. It's, I used to hate accountability because it's just like people making you do something that you really don't want to do because otherwise you do it yourself. But as I get older, I think it's really, really a key. Like, if you have a deficit in an area, you need other people to walk with you through that. And there's no, like, you should do that. Like, there's no guilt or shame in that. We just need each other's help sometimes.
Absolutely. So if people wanted to find you talked about free resources outside of YouTube, how would people access that? Just to reiterate, how to get to your content and the resources you're providing.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone listening to this podcast, I'll send you guys a special link where you can get a free PDF download that just walks through the steps to weight loss. Like, if you do this, then you do this, and then you do this, like, you will lose weight and you'll hit your ideal weight. And just as a free gift for listening to this, I'll give your listeners that guide. So, and I'll send it to you guys. You can put it in the show notes and all.
And what is your channel again? Can you tell us that again?
It's just my name. Yeah, it's Dr. Zach Littlefield, MD.
MD, yeah. Not just Dr. Zach Littlefield.
Yep.
Awesome.
He didn't go to 12 years of doctor school just to be called Dr. Zach Littlefield.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I didn't really want to put that in, but I mean, there is a difference between, I feel like there's a lot of, not fake doctors, but people pretending like they went to medical school that really didn't.
Sure.
And I was like, look, I went to medical school. So like, that's all it means. So, yeah.
And I think it's okay for a channel of your format to have, more of a literal title. It doesn't have to be anything, cute or catchy, because, that's not really the aim of your content. You're actually trying to help people.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome, man. Well, Zach.
Help me to help you.
Oh.
That's what you made me think of. Go ahead.
Oh, is that another 80s reference?
way back in the 90s,
they
were doing this.
I remember when they played music on
Close
stages.
it out. Close it out.
Close it out. Hey, I will close it out when I'm good and ready. But we probably are out of time. So, Zach, thank you so much for joining us on the inaugural, the real first episode of this podcast. You are a great first expert. That's what we'll refer to you as in our circle, the first expert.
Well, I'm an expert on my opinion, so I'm happy to give my expertise on my opinion.
Oh.
It was great talking with you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Zach. We always appreciate your expertise, my friend. And
hey, I'm happy to be here.
Yes.
Thanks for inviting me.
Of course, man. It was a lot of fun. And thanks, everybody, for listening. And go check out Dr. Zach Littlefield, MD, on YouTube. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening. If you know an everyday expert that you think we should talk to, leave a comment below or send a message to the email address in the description. If you're an expert yourself, we want to talk to you too. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram to get more awesome content and updates on future episodes. See you next time.